It's magic time!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. I am your host, Daniel, and I'm joined today by Chris, and another former host of Between the Studs, the venerable, I don't know why that's the adjective we always used to describe you, the venerable Justin, is making a comeback.
What makes him so venerable?
I've
Why
been
can't
venerated.
I be venerable?
I've been venerated, that's why.
They made a Venerator Lego set, didn't they? It's
Yeah.
Lego Star Wars, the Venerator.
Kind of looked like Justin a little bit.
We are talking today, once again, about parts that have been thrown away. This is one of our popular recurring series. We do rare parts as well as parts that are thrown away. They kind of go hand in hand. We're doing another thrown away parts because we still had plenty of interesting ones to talk about. So these are parts that we've actually pulled out in our sorting room downstairs. I say we, and by we I mean Ed.
Yeah.
So parts that Ed has pulled out in our sorting room downstairs and put in the trash because he didn't know any better. Some of these even... he has been known to attempt to throw away before you or I gets a second chance to
Didn't some
to look
end
through
up
them.
in the dumpster?
Yeah.
And you had to go in there and pull them out?
Well, yeah, I don't want to say we dumpster dive a lot around here, but there's one piece that we're going to talk about today that I did go to throw something else away in the dumpster, and it was sitting right on the top of the pile, so I did just pluck it out. It didn't get any...
Just like throwing Lego
trash
parts
stuff
away
on it.
just hurts my heart.
Yeah, that's why we have the to be thrown away bin in the Lego sorting room, which is not quite yet thrown away. So these have all been pulled from the brink of disaster, from the brink of the landfill. Because they either don't look like Lego, maybe they don't have Lego written on them anywhere, maybe, you know, for whatever reason, they
They're
thought
just weird.
they were trash. Yeah.
They're just weird.
They move pretty quick down there in the sorting room, so it's easy to make some bad judgment calls. But the three of us each have 5 picks, I believe, for things that we pulled out of the bin of salvaged parts, which we're going to be talking about today. So without further ado, Chris, why don't you start us off? What is your first pick for today?
Oh, gosh. Daniel, you put me on the spot here. How
I don't
about
know,
this
we
guy
usually
right
go this
here?
way. I don't know why.
I really like this piece. It's cool. It's so basic and simple.
Do you have a part number for us?
I don't have a part number, no, because I know this piece, so I didn't feel like I had to look it up. Where I see it most is it's in the crossbow, and it shoots out of the crossbow,
Yeah.
Chewbacca's crossbow.
This is the bar 1L with toe ball.
That was
part
fast.
number 22484.
Did you see how fast
Yeah.
that was?
I'm a
How did
Bricklink
you-
pro.
How did you do that?
I'm a
That's
Bricklink
amazing.
pro.
Comes in lots of different colors. I think they look cool. I think you could probably use it as eyes or you know, whatever.
The first time I ever saw those were the Nexonites.
Yeah,
Yes.
they have some cool transparent
Aaron's
colors.
Trans. I don't know if it came out before that, but that was the first time I ever saw that
Yeah.
piece.
I think there's
I did not
trans-
know it came in orange.
I think
That
there's
is crazy.
trans bright green and trans neon orange.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
the most common color is probably dark bluish gray. Oh gosh, there's a lot more colors than I thought. Black, blue, dark bluish gray, dark red, orange, red, trans bright green, and trans neon
What
orange.
did the orange one come on?
The solid orange?
Yeah.
7 different sets.
A lot of
Looks like mostly just for
Ninjago.
functional purposes.
A lot of
Now
new stuff.
some Chinese New Year.
It's
Is that
a
the
newer color.
ornithopter?
Deku tree, yeah, ornithopter. Just a random smattering of stuff.
But I like things that shoot, and this is something that shoots.
Yeah.
So it's also just neat. It's just
Yeah.
so cool.
It's a good
I like
functional
it.
piece. It snaps
Yeah.
into the mixel ball joints, and so you can use that to create some nice, interesting angles.
It
with the bar
also
connection.
does not have the Lego part number on it. Oh my gosh!
Probably
it
right on the
does.
end. Very
it's
tiny.
amazing.
The
That
new
is
parts,
amazing.
The molding technology has come a long way. They can get very tiny printing on parts now.
I don't think my human eyes can read that.
And easy to throw away, too. A lot of these are much smaller parts than we typically do on, like, our rare parts videos. So these smaller ones easily get thrown away. I mean, this looks like it could be a toy from, you know, part of any other toy.
Yeah.
Really. For my first pick, I'm going to talk about part number 30322. This is the blue flag antenna whip. And this is the one that I was mentioning Ed had thrown away. I plucked it right off the top of the pile and saved it from the dumpster there. So this mostly came in a bunch of the Arctic sets from the early 2000s, so like 1999 to 2006 was when this part was produced. This in particular is the one with the sticker number 24 on it, which is from the Mobile Outpost. All of the different vehicles had different numbers on them with the stickers, so I've got one on my desk, for example, that has number 69 on it. So,
Really?
yeah.
Huh.
Just random number.
Not a particularly expensive part. Most of these are less than $1, but it's just kind of cool because it looks like the standard like 8-long antenna, but it has that triangular pennant on it. And we haven't really had triangular pennants up until I think it was just this year or last year. Some friend sets included this new kind of triangular pennant piece, which
Well,
is
it's
pretty cool.
very unlike Lego because the end of it you really can't do anything with.
Right, there's not really
Yeah.
any connections beyond the stud and the very short kind
Yeah.
of bar area at the bottom.
That's when Lego started making specific pieces that weren't really as universal as their
Yeah.
other ones,
Yeah.
and they started doing not doing well, and then Star Wars brought them back.
Yeah, a lot of these pieces are right in that kind of early 2000s sweet spot when there were just tons of goofy parts.
That also gets thrown away a lot because there are a ton of those flags in any cheap little plastic soldier set.
Yeah.
that you
Yes.
Yeah, oh
Very true.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Classic.
Especially Ed, because he played with those back in the 40s and the 50s, and that's all they had to play with.
Well, they were
that rocks.
they were World War I figures back then, not World War II
Yeah.
figures. 'Cause
Revolutionary.
it hadn't happened yet, so yeah, Civil War even.
Civil War soldiers.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, Justin,
Does he
what's
watch these?
Probably not. Probably not.
That's how we can get away with it. I have my Bionicle minifigure. They did make Bionicle sets with
Yes.
minifigures in them. This is the Paraka, specifically Paraka Zaktan, with his incorrect feet and head, or feet and body. And he's missing his arms, but I do have a plethora of his Bionicle weapons.
All of these came out of the bin for parts that were thrown away, right?
Yes. So this is part number BIO001.
Ooh,
So he is number one, and these aren't that expensive, right?
not really.
No, they're really not.
They're-
They haven't changed in price at all.
Yeah.
So we started making our own Bionicle building kits out of those heads because they were so cheap.
Yeah,
These heads are cool. I mean,
they're really neat.
you can put it's got
All
a
unique
Technic
models.
axle in the back, so you can put not a full one.
I think it's
don't
like a bar.
But you can stick
You
the
can stick a bar in
vines
there.
in the back, the like the alien xenomorph vine. So we bought these in bulk a couple of years ago. We got them all. We got every one they had because they were so cheap. Now they're not because you
Yeah.
can't get them.
Yeah,
No one has them.
we do. We do.
have 'em.
I love the idea of bringing your Bionicle into your Lego world.
It's
I
basically
really like
like minifigure scale, right? That's
Yes.
about
I
how
would
tall
say.
Bionicles would be compared to a person.
it. In my brain.
Yeah.
And that's how it would be. So I love this guy, and I love all the different colors they came in.
And all the wacky weapons too. And
Yeah.
like we said, these were also thrown away.
Do
we
the
see a
weapons
lot of these
say
like.
Lego?
Challenging my eyes.
Yeah, give me one. I
That
can
one
look.
looks like it does.
I see a copyright symbol.
Yeah, maybe that's just a copyright symbol.
I only see the copyright symbol. I don't see a part number or anything.
We know
at least on
someone
this one.
owns it. We
But
just
anyway,
don't know who.
right? This pearl light gray color is something we see thrown away a lot because it's got that kind of cheaper feel. It's a little bit rubbery. It's kind of milky, transparent on the edge, and it looks like a cheaper quality.
I was
plastic.
gonna say that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like a cheaper quality toy, but it's not. It's Lego.
Yep.
Don't throw it
for
away
sure.
if you see it.
That's right.
Okay, well, I'm going to go to my oldest one here. This is a conveyor belt axle crank. You want to guess how old that one is?
Gotta be 70s, right? Early 70s?
Justin?
So I was gonna say 80s.
80.
Do you think it's old?
Daniel's right. 71 to 75, so it came in multiple sets. All those old city sets that had a basic green base plate and an odd-shaped one, like odd stud count, like 20
It's
by
like
30
peak
or something.
Bricksar time period. He's big into
Yes,
like all the stuff from that era.
Exactly. What's his? The dump truck, the little
The
dumps?
tipper truck. The tipper truck is his.
So
his whole thing.
this went to the conveyor belt, and this turned the conveyor belt.
Oh, it's the worm gear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was actually on like maybe 8 sets
Oh,
from
wow.
71 to 75. And if I saw this, I would throw it away. The funny thing is, it's not expensive. It's less than $1.
I remember, I think it was around the time I first started working here, we had one of those sets that had that conveyor assembly, because it's built out of, it's like 3 or 4 different parts. There's like the crank, and then there's the like vertical cage, there's the rubber belt, and then there's some sort of like tipping bucket thing at the bottom. And we were trying to certify some set, and it had been missing one of those elements for the conveyor belt assembly, and I think we finally found it, and we're able to finish certifying that set.
Is it compatible other than the bar attachment? Is it compatible with any modern?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It looks like a bar diameter,
it does-
the full length.
Yeah, it fits into axle hole.
Here's a clip. You can
So
check it with that.
probably fits into a clip.
But as far as using it as the worm gear, do they make
No,
anything
I don't
that you
think
can
so.
still use
Yeah,
it
Yeah,
with?
right in.
no.
That's probably why
Which
it's
is very
cheap
cool.
then.
Yeah, I think the rubber belt just kind of wrapped over the
Oh,
end of
okay.
And I don't think you saw this outside of the conveyor belt. It was probably
it.
like
I'm sure it was a
Mm,
special.
it's
always
internal.
inside whenever you saw it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to see it outside the conveyor belt just makes it look really weird.
Yeah.
Something else interesting, because it had the like rubber belt going over it, the shape of the area in the middle is kind of tapered off on the edge, and that's actually, it's a physics thing. It's what keeps the belt centered on it. It's what keeps it from like drifting off of the end. it seems counterintuitive because it slopes away, but
Yeah.
that's actually because of the way the tension in the belts and stuff work. That's what keeps it centered on that kind of drum as it turns over.
And this one looks like it was used heavily, which
Yeah.
I love to see. I mean, you just picture some kid, what a kid in the 70s would be in their 50s or 60s now.
I'm sure it was a great play feature.
And they were just cranking the heck out of that thing. Its kids might have been using this when they were kids.
Right. Good. All right, next up we have the, this is a weird part number, X400C20. This is the fiber optics wide cable that is 20 studs in length in transparent clear. These came in Exoforce in a number of different lengths. This particular one came in 6 different sets in 2006. And basically there was a specialized light brick, which is infamous, I think, because you can't change the batteries in it. So it's like when they die, they die. I think those Exoforce ones are like that. A really nice fiber optics element that is basically a standard bar diameter, so it's much more usable than like the fiber optics that came in the older UFO sets, which only kind of had a bar at the end and then it was sort of a weird diameter down the rest of it. But much more usable. I've used these in mocks and things with lighting as fiber optics, which is great.
But it's essentially just a plastic flexible tube.
It's just a piece of hose. Yeah, I'm sure Lego probably just outsourced this from some third-party company.
It is a cool feel. It's like a silicone.
Yeah,
It's
it's
interesting.
A very rubbery silicone.
It's not a hose, is it? It's solid.
It's solid, yeah.
It's
so
solid.
that the light
so it's almost like a
through
used Lego lightsaber. But what I don't like about this, I didn't think this was I love Exoforce, and it's a neat idea, but it didn't actually work very well because the light, if you're looking at it from the side, I don't remember being able to see the light through it.
Right. The point of fiber optics is to get light out the end of it, not out the sides.
So you actually have to be looking at it right on to see the blue or the red light.
So it did not look like light was traveling like
no,
they
if you're
intended?
looking at it like this side, it doesn't
you
look
only
anything.
see the light coming out the end, which is how fiber optics get signals across undersea cables. It keeps all the light inside of it.
But it got past their product testing, so somebody must have thought it was cool.
The other fiber optic that I brought up, though, the ones in the UFO set, they were kind of, it was like notched along the length of it, or there were like little pips that kind of stuck out of the sides of it so that light would kind of bounce out along the length of it as opposed to just out of the end of the tube. So a very unique play feature that we have not seen since. These are about $3 to $5 a piece, at least for this length. So not super expensive, but if you wanted to get a bunch of them or something, they're a little difficult to come by.
And we have not seen since.
Yeah,
is the key word.
Yeah, right.
This is kind of like the light up lightsaber figures where you press down on their head and their lightsaber lights up. We were at New York Comic Con one year selling Lego, and a guy from the Lego booth came up to us in 2013, I think, and he said, and he was looking at that light up Darth Vader, and he said, "Oh, I designed this." And I was like, wow! And he was an older gentleman from Denmark.
That's wild.
And I was like, oh, wow, why did they stop making them? We were really busy. I didn't have time to talk to him too much. But I said, why did they stop making these? They're just too expensive to make.
Lego's making fewer and fewer electronics every year. I mean, and with all the warning labels they have to put on the boxes now, I wouldn't be surprised if they stopped making light bricks altogether.
And they do outsource almost all that electronics to other companies. So we got a customs claimed container of the old UFO or insectoid light up sound makers, and they light up. And I think we got 10,000 of them, maybe.
Oh my gosh!
And they had been sitting down in the Jacksonville port, I think, somewhere down there, or Savannah, for 20 years.
Wow!
And by the time we got them, and we've sold almost all of them. I think we had one case left. But the outer box says "Made for Lego by," and then it has the name of the company in Taiwan, and just some random electronics company. But back to that Darth Vader, then he walked away, and I thought later, I was like, man, I should have gotten him to autograph it.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough.
That would have been cool.
All right, that is my second pick. Back over to you, Justin. What do you got for us?
So mine, I think, if you're a casual or medium Lego fan, you probably would recognize this, but this is more for like the moms and dads who are just cleaning up. They might see this as a single piece. Oh, it's one of those Army Men pieces. We don't have those anymore. And
Mega
it
blocks.
does not look like, it does not look like Lego.
Yeah.
This is the tan door frame 1x8x6 arched with clips. Part number 40424 with the stone profile. This was...
Don't tell me, do you have a year on it?
Yes, I do.
1999.
Not for the tan.
2000.
I'm thinking it's
2003.
It was 2001 to 2007.
okay. Harry Potter, right?
Yes, that's the Forbidden Corridor from 21 and Sirius Black's Escape.
So Daniel went over, so I got it. So I
Yeah.
won.
Well, I mean, the
Okay,
piece,
alright.
this shade has been around that time, but in this color.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I love the stone edifice. I love the clips on the side. This is a great piece. I would hate to see this in the trash anywhere.
I had a lot of these growing up because I had a lot of those early Harry Potter sets. And yeah, I want to say tan, light bluish gray maybe was another color for it. I think some of those really early Harry Potter ones had it in one of those wacky colors, like medium orange or something like that.
Oh,
with like a
Hermione's bedroom.
Yeah, with like a purple door or something. Yeah, you probably did like a set
was-
review or something of those, didn't you?
That was Justin's favorite kit when he was a kid.
I know,
Hermione's
yeah.
bedroom.
They're goofy kits. They got wild parts in them. They're basically like Belleville sets.
They were trying.
Yeah, I guess we're ready to go back over to you,
Chris.
Chris. What you got for us next?
I feel like I have a lot here. They're really good ones, though. This one's super cool. This is
Is that?
yeah, it's a little gearbox with it's called a triple spring
I
gearbox,
think I-
and this came in the hockey player sets, the Technic, the buildable,
Oh.
almost like Bionicle hockey players. So it only came in those sets. It came in like 3 different colors. And it is expensive. It's like a $5 piece. So what this does, you put an axle in, bend it one way, and it springs forward. So it was the
For the
hockey
hockey
for the
sticks,
hockey
you could-
stick.
Do a slap shot with it.
Those had a lot of rare parts. So those had like the hockey pucks. Those get thrown away a lot. Those hockey pucks were not compatible with anything else, and they only came in that set.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they do say Lego right on the top of it, though.
If you leave the sticker on, yeah, they
That's-
had stickers.
yeah.
You could
Some of them did have stickers.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's a really weird piece.
Definitely unique.
Cool, and it does not have the part number on it, and it does not say Lego on it. So
There's like an interesting like imprint of an arrow too, showing you like how the play feature actually works, which is kind of interesting. You don't see that a lot.
I wouldn't be surprised if another company made that for them.
But still very usable if you wanted to make your own custom Technic.
Oh yeah, you could use
Things
it for all
like
kinds of
very
stuff.
usable.
Yeah, if you wanted to set something up so that you could pull it back and hit somebody with it.
Yeah.
Make a little catapult or something. You can launch stuff with
Yeah.
it.
But $5 for that, I wouldn't want to throw it away.
Oh wow.
What's also cool about that, I just noticed that it has screws in it, so you could actually take it apart.
Let's see. Next up, ooh, this has probably got to be one of the oldest parts on the table. Ed would have had to been probably in his late, what,
He's
30s
probably in
or
college
40s,
when
probably in
this-
college.
yeah.
Alright. This is the hinge coupling part. This is also the lowest part number. This is a 3-digit part number. It's part number 650. It is the hinge coupling nylon in milky white color, a color that hasn't been produced in a long time. This came out between 1963 and 1969. This was in a lot of the early like Samsonite sets and some of the classic and supplemental packs. The first thing that came to mind was train coupling, but this was really prior to most train sets. A lot of them were just little vehicles and tractors and boxes that didn't even have instructions on what to make. It was just a part that you could use for
was just
whatever,
thrown in there?
for your imagination. Yeah, but the idea was that it was this flexible material, and because it's two 2x2 plates on the end, you would put it between carriages of some sort of train
Like a
of
trailer
vehicles,
hitch or-
trailer
okay.
hitch, sure, and that would allow you to have the different areas linked to each other but be flexible in the middle.
Is it meant to sit flush though between two?
I don't think so. I think it
Bricks,
just goes like
Oh, it
on the
just goes
underside.
underneath,
think it
I
just
see, 'cause
attaches
there's
to the
no
bottom
anti-stunts.
plates. Yeah,
Pretty
'cause
simple,
they-
really.
Yeah, simple, but I'm sure it was effective. And then, in later years, I'm sure probably even before they got into the 70s, they just developed plastic linkages or magnetic linkages even to replace that. Because this do have some flex, but we see a lot of these that are broken in the middle as well.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think every time it gets brittle in that flexible
Yeah,
joint,
I
it just
wasn't-
snap. It's
yeah.
very thin in the middle.
How much are those worth?
Shockingly very cheap. This is like less than $1 for one of these. And I rarely ever see these. I mean, I'm sure if you buy bulk lots of old Samsonite bricks, you probably see them more often.
I don't think the demand is there for those.
That too.
You know the really cool Lego boxes, the real old ones we have up front that say Samsonite on them and stuff? Those, a couple of them came in those
Okay.
style boxes. So the boxes themselves, in my opinion, are worth more than the pieces inside.
Got it. Just for the nostalgia and the history of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like it glows in the dark, but I don't see why.
That milky white color always does, but yeah, it's not. All right, Justin, what do you got for us next?
I love the Lego games. That's a series I'm really into.
Absolutely.
So this is the rubber-lined editable dice roll. I love the idea that you can make the dice whatever you want.
You could stack it. You could make it look like a normal dice, but take off the one and put an extra
have
5
all
or 6
sixes.
on
It's
there.
like, I'm so powerful. I'm pretty sure this is from the Harry Potter, because this was the
looks
one that
right.
rotates the rooms if
Yeah.
you rolled on that specific symbol. You guys have that giant prop one, which is so cool.
Yeah, it's out
it's on
there.
the shelf out there.
Yeah.
But I love this thing. It's made of, like, I don't know, 2 different pieces, because there's the hard plastic and the rubber that makes it almost too bouncy.
It's very bouncy, yes.
But it makes it roll. I guess they tested it without it, and it didn't roll as well.
It
So
just kind of slid. It was too slid.
I can see someone throwing this way. It does, especially with all the panels on it. It does not look like Legos.
Have you ever taken the rubber off those?
I've seen people have.
It's a very functional,
Is it?
6-sided studs on all side piece.
Do you have to?
You would have to cut the rubber.
Oh, you have to
basically,
cut
to
it.
extract
Okay.
the
It's all
red,
red,
molded piece inside. You can probably throw a picture of it up. But yeah, it's a very, very unique piece. They do kind of have a piece that now does that. They've got one of the snot bricks that has, if you put 2 of them back to back, you would have studs on at least 5 of the 6 sides and anti-studs on the bottom.
It seems, especially for games, if you want to make your own game, this is so useful, and they do not make this anymore.
Yeah, very pretty short-lived piece. There's also the rare golden one.
I don't think they're expensive, except the rare golden one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What did the golden one come in?
its own little poly
Just a
bag,
poly
I think.
bag,
Yeah, I think
Oh,
it was
okay.
something. It was like a pre-order or something.
Now, when we say expensive, what are we talking about?
those,
The golden
gold one.
the gold one, $5, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. Nothing
Whereas
too
those are
crazy.
under $1. Probably.
Definitely an interesting one to see.
Especially with the Marauders map, because I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah.
That's a very uncommon.
I actually did a review of that game on this channel, so here's the
you
card for that. So if you
That
want
was
to
one
see
of
it,
the few games that I had. That was a good one. I remember that, where the rooms would shuffle around.
I won't go too far into it, but it's one of the best Lego game mechanics. A lot of them were, especially Hiroka, was too simplistic, but that one took a lot of strategy and thinking ahead. Well, if I move this like this, will this make it, and my opponent's going to go between me, and then, so it was a lot more think heavy. It was a great game.
And the licensing always helps.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got Buzz Lightyear's windscreen, and this is actually considered 2 pieces on Bricklink. This was the, I don't have the year, 2010.
Okay.
2010, it was the Construct-a-Buzz.
Yeah, the big
The big
one.
one.
Yeah, he's a very cool figure.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a really cool buildable figure, and then he came with a little alien minifigure. And this was the first Toy Story series. But this is a really weird windscreen, but it's super functional. You could see that as being a cockpit.
Oh,
And
totally.
they haven't made that since. They've made a cockpit that is all one piece that fits on something, like the Naboo Starfighter. But,
Yeah.
I mean, to actually be able to come up so you can shoot and stuff out of it.
Was that only on him and never appeared again?
The only set it came on. Yeah.
Wow!
Well, and
what a waste!
The bigger half is the side with the anti-studs on the bottom, and they don't make a lot of half domes. You either get domes or not domes, really. So to have that, and as far as I know, if you got like 2 of the bigger half, you could probably put them next to each other and make a whole dome, or several half domes.
Yeah,
I guess quarter dome.
Not only does it have a lot of functionality, it's relatively cheap. Yeah, each piece is like under $1.
That's great.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. And also kind of makes sense why it was thrown away. Not super obvious immediately what it is unless you're looking at the side with the anti-studs. Let's see, next up, let's do this one. I have...
Hoping you pick that one.
Yeah.
I want to know about that
This
one.
is part number 66829. This is the felt fabric 4x4 flower thick in magenta. This came out as recently as 2020. I would have guessed this was like a Belleville piece or something like that. You saw a lot of that kind of wacky stuff back then. But this was from Trolls World Tour. They made a number of these
That's right.
weird felt pieces. There were flowers, there were hearts, there were like kind of splat patterns and some wings and some other unusual shapes. They came in like purple and bright light orange and magenta. So this is just one of those. Very obvious why this is thrown away.
Yeah, and you built them into the set. Like another piece would go on top of it.
Yeah,
and
there's like a
hold it in
cutout,
place.
I think, it's about a plate thick. So I think if you just had like a 1x1 plate sticking up through it, you would kind of pinch it in there, basically.
Yeah, definitely does not look like Lego, and there's no...
Clearly doesn't say Lego on it
Yeah.
anywhere. Yeah, very, very unusual. Like I said, lots of different shapes and colors you could get if you wanted to use them for different things. Still very cheap because it's so recent and not very usable. I mean, under $1 for pretty much any of those.
It doesn't say
colors
Lego
or shapes.
anywhere on it, right?
No, yeah.
And then, is there
They didn't
any
print
value at
anything
all
out.
to this?
Well, it depends. Did you want to pay extra for the dog hair that's stuck to it, or
I thought that was cat hair.
cat hair? Sure.
We'll taste it. Find out.
Get a little. Yeah. So easy to pick up if you like chasing after, those kind of rare, wacky parts to use in mocks or whatever. Definitely an interesting one. One we'll probably never see again.
Yes. I have
Alright.
another one I thought we wouldn't see outside of Monkey Kid, but they have since used this. This is
Yeah.
with the single bar attachment cloud piece. First started in Monkey Kid in white. This is the trans bright green variant.
One of the
which
best colors for it, I would say.
Yes! It's so useful. I thought it was too specific to that theme because it has that very specific Asian look to
Right,
that
yeah.
swirl in the clouds. But then you make it trans green, and now all of a sudden it's smoke, it's magic, it's
very
whatever.
whimsical, yeah.
This trans green one appeared in the Green Goblin set. This is all new, so this is like 2022 to present, or
Yeah.
maybe even
Was
earlier
that
than
coming
that.
out of the back of his sled?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this Green Goblin Maleficent's dragon, the one that's on shelves now, and
Oh,
then
that's
the
perfect for
Ministry
that,
of
yeah.
Magic one
For
that's
the, like,
also
the
on
flute
shelves
powder.
now. So there's a fairly new variant on a piece that's been out for a while. Does not look like Lego.
Not really, yeah. A little bar connection and that's it.
That's it.
You know, it's so hard to tell if something's Lego or not with all the new elements they have coming out.
And you mentioned this. It's getting more and more specific. It's almost like we're going back to those
Yeah.
90s, early 90s, where they're putting a lot of emphasis in making pieces that are more and more specific
Yeah.
to things, which are cool. You can get some details that you can't get out of that. But on the other hand, it loses some of the Lego-ness.
The difference, I think, these days is that Lego has a much bigger budget to work with when it's coming from licensed property. So you get all these unique new molds for licensed characters and things, but Lego isn't going to suffer because of it, because those companies may be giving them some sort of stipend or bonus or things to make those new molds. You know, if Star Wars has this wacky looking character, they're like, okay, we really want it to be accurate, so maybe there's some part of the licensing agreement that gives them more of an ability to make all those new parts.
I wonder if, because you talk about license, I wonder, because there's certain hair pieces I've heard the term license locked.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I wonder if that Buzz Lightyear, do you think something
Could
as
be.
simple
been, yeah.
If Disney, if it was
and-
part of the contract that
Yeah.
they gave them some sort of stipend or something for that new mold, there may have been part of that agreement.
Disney
that
could have
you
said,
couldn't
hey,
use it
this
for other
is
stuff.
our design.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can't use it.
yeah, it's Buzz
That's
or
definitely possible.
nothing.
Right, right. Very good point. Very good point. Interesting food for thought.
That's another episode we were talking about doing for Between the Studs is characters and real life people that they've made out of Lego and then their likeness to that. And it reminds me of when Justin and I went to that prop place, Marvel prop place, and we compared the Lego version to the real prop version. That was amazing.
Yes.
Cool.
We got to hold Captain America's shield,
Yeah,
Thor's hammer.
yeah.
Very cool.
I mean,
Stormbringer, all
everything,
that stuff.
Everything. Star-Lord's gun.
Yeah.
The mask, everything. And we couldn't really talk about it. at the time.
Yeah. Link to that video.
But we can now.
We can now.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right, back over to you, Chris. I think this is our final round.
This
of
can be
picks,
our
is that
final round.
right?
I have more than we need, so
Yeah, there
this
you go.
can be final round.
I'm not
All
ready
right.
for the final round.
Oh, you have
Chris,
two more?
Let's just do.
All right,
do
all right.
one round.
We'll go
just
through.
one more round after this. So I'll combine these two together. They're very similar and they're kind of boring, honestly. But they're modular connectors, and so like this one is that soft plastic, kind of like a rubber. So
Yeah,
if
the
you
whole
feel
Weird.
that,
Wow.
It feels like an eraser.
it's called
Yeah.
it's called a flexible modular connector. So it was made to move.
But to what end? Because it's still got a lot of cross reinforcements. It really doesn't look like it would flex all that much. so-
Robotics? What was it for?
Close. It only came in 2 sets. They were remote control cars.
Did it have something to do with like the suspension or something?
Had to have been, right?
Yeah,
Or something that
yeah.
got a lot of pressure or bounce.
because it is flexible, but it's still very robust. It's a very
Yeah.
limited
It's
degree
a
of
hard
flexibility.
eraser.
And then this one here is kind of a similar idea, and it's the normal Lego plastic in trans blue, and it's some type of modular connector, and it only came in the Mindstorms educational sets. And it was, I mean, you really didn't need it. Like, you can use other modular connectors now.
Yeah.
You know,
That is cool.
they made that specifically just for the Mindstorms and the educational sets.
That's so interesting.
This one is under $1, like 30 cents.
Wow.
This one is like $4. That's actually pretty expensive.
Probably because it gets thrown away a lot. It's a weird
And I don't
material.
think it says Lego on it. And they may have even had somebody else make this because this is not Lego plastic.
The next one I have, this is part 89079. This is the large figure arm/leg cover with scales. Do you all know what this is from?
Yes.
Were those the knights, the buildable knights?
No.
No.
Ben 10.
Oh!
Chris got it. So this came out in 2010 for the Ben 10 set. This one was exclusive to Big Chill. Now, I've seen, there were a number of these other parts with this little bar connector on it for Ben 10. Some of them were just like little kind of spike barbs or like little wisps of flame or whatever. So there are a handful of those which I've seen before. This one I had not seen before, though, with these little scales on it.
That's a cool
They
color.
kind of look like the things that are on the buildable Knights Kingdom characters.
It does.
The ones with the two Technic pins?
Yeah.
Yeah, similar kind of shaping.
That is just what we were talking about, that those Ben 10 buildable characters had parts that they never used again, and I wonder if it was because of the licensing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. To me, it kind of looks like one of the little Crata worms.
Yep.
It does. That's what I thought it was at first.
Yeah. But yes, so this was in the Big Chill one. This comes in bright light blue, which was also not a very common color back then. I feel like bright light blue is one that's kind of become more popular recently. So a very unique color for a very unique exclusive piece, yet still under $1. Not expensive, which is surprising because I'm sure these get thrown away by a lot of people a lot of the time. But it does say Lego there on the back, but you know, as always with more recent parts, it's getting smaller and smaller. Pretty soon they're going to be like micro printing on there.
As a side note, that's what we call you after work. Big Chill.
Big Chill.
Oh, I thought you were
micro printing.
I was like,
Where's he going with this?
Yeah, I was waiting for the punchline.
Big Chill. Big Chill, because he's so cool.
That's what they used to call me in high school.
Because it's so cool. I have a little weapon, a little Ninjago weapon. Now, I forgot to look this up, what series it came with. It was the Dragon series when they were in the Dragon world and they had to collect the Dragon Bone
Dragon
armor.
Forge?
Maybe. I remember one of the sets came with the full set of armor. There was the sword, the helmet, the shield.
It was like a MacGuffin, catch-em-all kind of.
Yes, what do they call
Chase
those?
item.
Chase item, yeah. But this is just the blade part of it. So you could change the hilt as a regular bar attachment.
It's marbled.
Yeah.
Okay, so they inject the tan from one side and the silver from the other, I guess, and it just kind of...
I just love it. And it looked like such a serious, mean-looking sword. And I
cool
think it was only for that series and only for Ninjago and never again.
Oh yeah, they turn a lot of stuff over with Ninjago. I think that's how they get the new molds for new sets, is they just keep turning them over. They're like, okay, we'll retire this piece and stop making it so that we can start making this new one. I could probably Google Lens it, but...
Speaking of Google Lens, I was able to find every single one of these rear parts, even this conveyor crankshaft on Google Lens.
That's pretty unique, though. I mean, if I tried to scan something like a fiber optic cable, I mean, that just doesn't
It's
look
gotta
like
be able
anything.
to recognize it, yeah.
Probably the felt flower it might not even get. I don't know.
That AI, man, it's getting smarter and smarter.
It would get the flower. I don't know about that. There's a lot.
It just looks like
it.
anything.
So last round.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
right.
I didn't pick another one, but y'all can do your last
Well,
one.
you can do that if you want.
Sure.
So these
that
are
cut your
the
nose?
watch links. They were out in the 90s, the late 90s, and they had kids watch, they had adult watches, but they don't look like Lego. They're almost like tank treads, and they work like tank treads, and they're really easy to use, and I love them because you can change up any color you want, you know, and you can make rings out of them. You could make a bracelet out of it, but you also could use them for your watches, and they actually are pretty expensive. Some colors are 15 cents each, which is still relatively a lot.
There's a lot of transparent colors that are pretty expensive.
But there are rare colors that could go to $4 or $5 each, just for a tiny
For one link?
Just for one link.
Wow.
Because if you want to add an accent color to your thing, you'd only need a couple, maybe.
And I'm just enamored by the watches because we have a lot of the watches.
Well, they're so cool and unique.
And they're adult watches, and they work. They still work, and they're pretty high quality. They were not made by Lego, but they say they're licensed by Lego. They say Lego all over them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a Lego product.
Very similar to those. What do you call it? The UFO or insectoid sound makers. We got old new stock of these. So we got everything that the factory had left over 20 years, 30 years after. 20 years after they made them.
What's the price range on completed sets right now?
Brand new, sealed, unopened watches you could get for $30.
Okay.
Yeah, and that which is probably close to original retail price.
Yeah.
And then this is called a master collection. It comes with just tons of extra bezels.
It's got like the Velcro band and the silicone band.
It's got the Velcro band.
If you don't like the links.
Silicone band. And then see that orange color? Mm-hmm. And then that red one? Those are like a couple bucks each, those ones. These go for $50 for the big ones.
Wow, okay.
Well, yeah, it's neon orange and neon green, not to be confused with transparent neon orange and transparent neon
Which actually, if Lego...
Those are probably some of the only parts that come in those colors.
If Lego sold this today, I bet it would be potentially more than $50.
Yeah, I mean, a real watch is around $50.
Yeah, they're good quality.
Yep. Waterproof.
Wow.
Go to atlbrick.com. You can buy them today.
Get trendy.
You can buy one today.
Get
Justin.
trendy. You could buy one today. Yes.
Hot and fresh from 1999.
Well, who else has that stuff?
You're gonna have to talk about this. I didn't do any research about it.
Well, do you want to guess what
He
it is?
just pulled it out of his nose. You're playing with his boogers.
Just hacked up a loogie here.
I'm sure
they're the little squid guys from Bionicle.
We've done this video before, and we're throwing away parts, rare parts, and I guarantee you we have had that on.
We've probably talked about this before.
Yeah. It's called a squid shooter or squid
There was
missile.
like a launcher, yeah.
It's got like a leech mouth
from
with the
Bionicle.
teeth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that went into Bionicle guns, and the way you shot this one...
It looked kind of like a crossbow, right?
Yeah, so it's almost like a slingshot.
Oh.
So you pull back on that, and it shoots forward.
Good demonstration.
These are actually... I should have done that, because these are actually like $5 each. And that's a lot of... Bionicle can be very expensive. But, would you ever guess that is Lego?
No.
Bionicle gets thrown away a lot anyhow. Like, I was at a yard sale one time, a long time ago, and they had a Bionicle set. And, it said Lego on it, but it was in its original box. And I was like, oh, do you have any more Lego? And they're like, no, we don't have any Lego. Somebody came and bought it all. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I just bought the Bionicles.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't consider it Lego.
Yeah.
And, when you're thinking about these being thrown away, you got to think of them in the context of a bulk bin in a kid's house where it's got
all
these other toys in there, and you think about the other types of toys. Kids' toy bins are full of little gummy things, the sticky hands that you throw at the wall.
That's something that looks like it came out of the 50-cent gumball machine.
For sure, at the movie theater or whatever.
I could see a mother saying, oh, before I bring this bulk Lego in and sell it to Atlanta Brick Co., I'm going to take this gross little...
This $5, $6 piece.
Yeah. Leave it in. Trust us. We'll take care of it. Leave it in.
Yeah, just leave it. Yeah, that's your best bet. People call in, hey, should I sort the non-Lego out? Hey, should I do this?
Just leave it.
No, we'll do that. We'll do that.
That's what we do.
You're going to throw stuff away you're not supposed to. I guarantee it.
Yep.
All right, what do you got for us last, Justin?
Chris handed me this because it was really cool. This is...
cool.
Is it his hemisphere? It looks bigger than that.
It's one of the newer ones. They are slightly bigger than that. They're from the newer Ninjago sets. It's like a... You haven't seen this?
It's like a
you put 3 of them in this like black triangular thing, and the figures go on it. You can like roll them around. I guess it's part of whatever the new play feature is. You probably slam them into each other and try and knock them off or something.
Is that this season?
It basically kind of looks like a little fidget spinner, basically. There's 3 of them on a...
But that's what makes them roll, is that ball on the bottom.
Yeah, it's basically a ball bearing that it rolls around. But I think they've also used them in the sets as like a
projectile
chase item kind of thing. Or projectile.
It's pretty cool. Is that a mini peg hole on the...
I can't remember.
Oh, it goes all the way
New
through.
Elementary probably covered it, but I can't remember if there's any connections on that or not. I think it probably just kind of rests on pedestals in the set.
Okay.
Really unique color, though.
It is.
It's like a weird
I love it.
satiny, transparent yellow kind of color on this
Yes, mucus yellow, I would say.
Mm,
Unhealthy
yeah.
mucus yellow.
Squid missile yellow.
Squid
one.
missile
Missile
yellow.
yellow. It is about the same, honestly. It's not too
Yeah.
far off.
Yeah.
Not too far off.
That one has a little more blood in it.
I think they have some that have like pearl gold in them, and I think there's like
Okay.
a satin trans bright green as well. They all come in some wacky colors, but yeah, it's a recent Ninjago wave.
I love it. It has the iridescence in it. Or
Yeah.
opalescence, whatever
Yeah,
that's
whichever
called.
one.
One of those. All right, cool. Well,
Very unique. Easy to throw away.
yes, but don't.
Don't do it.
Well, thank you for sharing
Thank
all
you for
these
joining
awesome
us, Justin.
rare pieces. Oh, I was happy to join you.
This
I was
is a
happy to
cool
join.
one. Like I said, this is a popular series. Lots of, I think, lots of mock builders like to watch these because they see parts they either didn't know existed or something that they come up with an idea for how they could use it in a mock, and then they want to go out and buy it and gets those creative juices flowing. You know?
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, thank you all for joining us for this episode of Between the Studs. We appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to leave a like on this video or whatever the corresponding feature is on whatever platform you're listening to it on. If you're on Spotify or Apple Music or something, maybe leave us a review or whatever you're able to do on there. But consider subscribing to us on YouTube as well. You can also join our membership tier for some access to some fun exclusive content like our emojis and membership badges and things like that. But I hope you all enjoyed this episode as we covered Lego pieces and parts that are often thrown away. And I hope you all take care, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.